Today, we explore an exciting theme, a cancer survivor's journey of resilience and growth. In one place, The Power of Your Voice with Mike Murphy.
Hey, welcome everybody. This is the Power of Your Voice podcast, and I'm your host, Mike Murphy. First off, before we get started today, I just want to thank each and every one of you. Our show numbers are great. We're growing. So many of you are subscribing, giving us the thumbs up, sharing it with your friends, and so we're very grateful for that. I want you to know that from the bottom of my heart, we really appreciate you supporting this show, and it's only going to get better as we go forward, and we're super excited about the grand opening of our unbelievable retreat center here in Medellin, Colombia. It's a 2-week transformational health retreat that will forever change your life for the better. So I hope you'll check it out at www.mountainsofhope.com. And joining me today, we have Carolina Cifuentes. She's an international economist and an integrative nutritional health coach. After many years of traveling the world and having a successful career in finance, she realized that her most important journey was the one she was about to take within, and it was the one she never dared to take. After embarking on a self-discovery journey, she decided to become a health coach, mainly to heal her physical and emotional wounds. Her journey is still underway, but in a short amount of time, she made peace with all of her cancer processes and recovered from cancer and also her fertility. She believes that if you're willing to do the internal work, your body has the power to heal and come back to its original form. Our minds and emotions are powerful beyond anything we can begin to imagine, and she is happy to guide people in transforming their lives. Carolina, welcome.
Oh, thank you for having me here. This is really exciting.
Well, we're so glad to have you. So, first of all, you were born here in Medellin?
No, I wasn't.
Where?
I'm from the coffee area in Colombia.
Okay. And when did you move to Medellin?
That's a long story.
Okay.
But I'm going to try to make it like super short.
Okay.
When I was like about 11 years old, my dad, he found a way of leaving Colombia because he was like looking for the best for the family. So he went to Spain. 6 years later, more or less, he could take the whole family to live over there. So I went to live in Spain. That's where I did my studies as an economist.
See.
Then I did an exchange program in the Netherlands, so I lived there as well. And then I went on to work in Brussels, in Belgium.
Wow.
So I was there for, like in total in Europe, I was like 10 years.
Wow.
And then one time I came back to Colombia in a holiday. And it was the first time I was coming by myself because, you know, I was always coming with the family and visiting with family. But this time I was like, hey, I'm grown enough. I'm going to take it by myself. I'm going to travel the whole country. And that's when I discovered Medellin. And I was like, I fell in love with this place.
How long ago was that?
This was December 2014.
2014. So you found it 2014. You've been living here ever since?
No, since 2016.
2016.
2014 December was when I discovered it. And I was like, with the degree that I have, the studies, the experience, I can come back here, get a really nice job, and discover in which path I want to do my master's.
Yeah.
Because in Europe, in Brussels, without a master's, you cannot grow professionally that much. So I decided to come here to do that. 1 year later, like organize everything, and then I moved here to Medellin in January 2016.
Did you get your master's?
So I didn't. And I think I won't. I found what I was looking for. I mean, I found the job, a really good job, and the opportunity to grow and have a lot of experience pretty quickly, which is what I wanted. And then after about a year of being in Medellin, I realized being an economist wasn't my dream career, and that I had chosen this career more like for my parents and for prestige and for many reasons that are actually cancer related that
Yes.
I just like find out pretty recently that it was cancer related, that choice. So
explain that. You lost me there a little bit.
Oh, okay.
So tell us about the cancer and then tell us how it's related to that.
Okay, so yeah, so this is big. This
Yes.
is really big. They found the cancer in me when I was 18. I was really young.
And you were in Europe then, Spain?
I was in Spain
Okay.
when they found it. It was a blessing that they found it there, because like treatments there are amazing.
How did they find it?
So it was, cancer is like this silent disease. You don't know that you have it until usually it's too late.
Was there symptoms or something that caused you to look for it?
I had like bruises on my skin,
Okay,
and the bruises were not going away.
gotcha.
So, but I wasn't like really paying attention to that until I realized I was starting to have like white spots in my skin as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, white spots, dark spots, this is not normal.
So the diagnosis was a blood cancer?
No.
Okay, what was it?
It was a lymphoma.
Lymphoma,
A lymphoma, Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Hodgkin's.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but they had to do like a lot of things to find out what it was, because first they sent me to the dermatologist, right?
Oh yeah,
If you had a skin problem, you
Right.
go to the dermatologist.
right.
So she said probably the gland that regulates the color of your skin has an issue, but we're gonna make you like a blood test to see how your immune system is. 2 days later, they called me. They were scared. They say, "Caro, you have the defenses of someone who has AIDS."
Because of because of AIDS, because of your white blood cells or red blood cells, or what was going on?
I don't know exactly which test they run, but they wanted to see how my immune system was overall. And they say, hey, your immune system is the same as a person who has AIDS.
Wow,
So something is messed up. We need to figure out what it is.
wow.
So that's when I went to the oncologist, and she started like making all the tests, full body scans, biopsies, everything. And 1 week later, she had the diagnosis.
And you're only 18 years old.
I was only 18.
So they're probably going, whoa, how did this happen? You're going, how did this happen? Your family's going, how did this happen?
I have an idea on how
Tell
did
me,
that happen.
tell me.
So when I was 11, I got appendicitis,
Okay.
and it turned into peritonitis.
So it ruptured, it became poison?
Yeah, it ruptured.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know the technical
You
word
become
in English.
sepsis, your blood becomes sepsis and infection, yeah.
Yeah, so it opened
And you were
up.
only 11.
I was 11.
Oh, man.
So of course I have like this horrible like scar in my belly, and they had to like take this whole thing out.
Because it was emergency.
clean the whole thing. I mean, almost everyone who goes through that dies.
Wow.
So I actually survived.
So you think that's related to the lymphoma then?
Yes, because I mean it's really hard to clean the whole sepsis in that surgery.
Okay. So it was the toxicity from that rupture that eventually led to cancer. So
That's
now
what I
you're
think.
now you're 18 years old, diagnosed with cancer. Now what?
Now what?
What were you feeling? What were you thinking?
So the worst feeling or like emotion
Yes.
was that I was going to be like una carga, like something my family had to carry,
A burden.
a burden.
You know, it's interesting. You don't know this about me, but my second wife passed away from breast cancer after a 9-year battle, and then I started a nonprofit foundations. And what's interesting is almost every person I've ever talked to about cancer, they're grateful. They say cancer made me wake up and appreciate my life.
Yeah.
Was that similar for you?
Yes, for sure.
Elaborate, please.
For
I really
sure.
want to hear.
So, anyways, the first emotion, I felt like a burden
Yes.
for my family.
And everybody feels that way.
Yeah.
And everybody who gets sick feels that way. I'm going through something right now, and I feel that way too. Why are we like that?
I don't know. I mean, maybe it's because I'm like the older.
And I'll bet that you're more of a giver in life than a taker.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So I
100%.
think givers feel they're a burden. Takers, maybe not. I don't
Yeah.
know. Okay. All right. So keep going. So you're feeling you're going to be a burden to your family. And then what's the next emotion?
Next emotion, my doctor told me the good news. She told me, Caro, you have cancer. The good news is that we know pretty well this cancer. We know pretty well the treatment. So it's gonna depend on how sick you are. We still need to know what's the degree. But if your body's strong, you're gonna make it through.
Okay.
So that's what it stick in my mind.
And that gave you a little hope and made you feel better.
Yeah, I never had like any like shred of doubt that I was gonna make it through.
Awesome.
Never. So I came home and I was the one to give the news to my dad, my parents. That was the worst part.
You had to go tell your parents you just got diagnosed with cancer?
Yeah,
at
I was
18 years old?
alone. I was alone with the doctor when I got the news.
Wow. And where were you in Spain? Madrid, Barcelona?
In Pamplona, in the north.
Let's see. So you went to the doctor by yourself.
I got the news by myself.
So you're obviously a very strong woman.
Yes, I
and
am.
very brave.
Yes, I am.
Okay, so now you go home and you tell mom and dad you have cancer. What do you say?
So first of all, I went to myself in my room. I locked myself in the room.
Were you crying?
And I cried until physically I couldn't cry any longer.
Just stopped.
Yeah, because at some point you got no more tears. It's impossible.
I've been there. I know.
So then I went and speak with them. I don't remember their faces. I think my memory blocked that memory.
Are you the only child or you have siblings?
I got 2 younger siblings.
Okay.
So I told them the news. And then the next thing I told them is like, I'm going to have cancer. I'm going to go through this treatment. But it's going to be a cancer with dignity. I don't want to see you sad, with sorrow, thinking that, that I'm going to go, because I'm not going to go, and I cannot have that environment around me, because
you need to stay strong.
Yeah, we got to stay strong. I'm going to make it through, and I'm going to have cancer with dignity. So, like, no one in this house is allowed to be sad about it.
Wow.
So that kept me through, but of course it built like emotional walls in my family and within me as well.
Like, what do you mean?
It means, like, this is really shitty. Right?
Yeah. Well, but do you think it was everybody like put walls because of fear, didn't want to talk about it, deal with it, acknowledge it, or what was going on in the family?
I forbid my family to actually show feelings in front of me.
Well, I think that's really smart. I don't know how you came up with that. Intuitively, I think is brilliant.
It kept me through.
Because you give the cancer power. If you become a victim and it takes power, then you can't heal as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
But how do you know that as an 18-year-old kid?
I don't know.
Amazing.
I don't know. This is something I just knew. Like,
amazing.
I'm gonna make it through, but I need you guys not be sorry about me, not be crying around me, because I'm gonna be all right.
Wow. And how were they?
They were in shock.
Mm-hmm.
And during the treatment, I never see them cry.
Never. What was the treatment?
I got chemo for almost a year.
Oh. Did you lose your hair?
Twice.
And it come back different?
Yes. The first, started going curly.
Curly, yeah, right.
And then after I cut the curls, it went straight again.
Is that your original hair look like that, or is it different today?
Well, now it's dyed.
But how about the curls and the straightness?
No, it's straight.
It's okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Straight. It used to be straight before cancer, and then when it first started growing up, it was a bit curly, and then straight.
Did you lose your eyebrows?
No, but I lose the eyelashes.
And when you were bald, did you wear a wig?
Yes.
Okay.
Because my parents forced me to.
They did?
Yes.
You didn't want to?
I didn't want to.
Why'd they force you to?
Because they didn't want me
have people looking at you and stuff?
the staring of people all the time.
Yeah.
And the, pobrecita look all the time.
Yeah.
So that's why I had a wig. But for me...
You didn't care?
I didn't care. Yeah. For me, I prefer not to wear it by my dad. My parents were like, please. Do this one thing for us.
How did you when the chemo started and it started to fall out, did you go and get it cut off, or did you just let it fall out naturally through the chemo?
I asked them to cut it off.
Yeah.
Because it was too much.
Yeah, it was falling out in clumps, so it's like, okay, I got to deal with this.
Yeah, I asked them to cut it out.
And what's the age difference between you and your two siblings?
11 years.
So at that time you were 18. How old were those two girls?
Boys. They are twins.
Twin boys.
They are twin boys.
So you were 18, they were 11.
No, they were, if I was 18, they were 7.
Oh. What was it like for them?
Well, I'm not sure they were really aware. Knowing what's happening.
But when their sister doesn't have any hair, they got to be thinking something, right?
Yeah, but they were not, making jokes or anything.
They were cool.
They were cool. They were just as loving as always.
And how about now when you're around the family? Does the subject come up that you recovered from cancer? Or
No.
So
No, it's just
something you experience is over and done with.
yeah, it's over and done with.
And-
But I never explained like what happened with the cancer
Please,
and like the
please.
Economist. So I got like 1 year treatment, then I got the full remission, then I got the stem cell transplant, which was like pretty tough.
From bone marrow?
Yes, from my own bone marrow.
From your own?
Yeah, it's auto transplant.
Okay.
So yeah, that was like 45 days in the hospital in this like the glass.
Like intensive care.
Yes.
You have to be very protected.
Yeah, you have to
Because
be
your
less
immune system was
surgical.
like nothing.
Yeah, it's like you're just like creating a new immune system for you.
Was
so.
it painful?
No, it wasn't painful. I was really weak.
Oh, so you were really tired.
Yeah, I was just like super tired.
Wow.
And my hair fell down for the second time
Okay,
there because
okay.
when I got the transplant, I already had some hair. But when I went there for the transplant, they give you like 1 week of extreme chemo that it's meant to kill everything, even your own immune system, so they can put you, like create a new one on you.
Wow.
So basically, if they don't put inside of you the stem cells, you die.
Wow.
That's how it is.
Now, was ever a conversation about getting stem cells from someone else, or was always?
Yes, from my brothers.
Okay, so they tested them.
They tested and we're 100% compatible.
Oh, but they chose to use your own bone marrow.
Yes, because my own bone marrow is always going to be best than
Okay.
someone else's. Always.
That's interesting. Probably because you were young.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because if you were 58, probably your bone marrow is not as attractive.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so back to how the world lost a great economist.
So, on that time, I had a boyfriend.
Okay.
Okay. And
How was that?
he was the most loving, caring guy in the world.
Oh,
He took care of me so much. Like
I'm gonna cry.
he was the most like.
Wow.
Even when I had the stem cell transplant, I needed to have like someone with me in the room 24 hours
Wow.
until I was able to leave the room. Like
Someone that was already protected that you'd already been exposed to? Was that the
it's
thinking?
like a nurse had to be with me all the time, changing the
Yes.
liquids.
Yes.
We couldn't afford a nurse for me,
Wow.
so he did it for me.
Wow. What's his name?
Fabian.
What a great guy.
Yeah, he's an
Amen.
angel. He's an
Amen.
angel.
Amen.
Well, anyways, like 7-8 months after the whole the transplant and everything, our relationship ended. That's another story.
Right. Okay.
But the thing is, I stopped taking hormones, like contraceptive hormones, right?
You probably had to, right?
Yes, I mean, I had a boyfriend. I was taking.
Right.
I had
No,
to
no,
take
but
my shit.
I'm thinking about for the cancer and everything. Because
Oh,
you
okay.
don't want to mess with the hormones that much. I'm guessing. I don't know.
Well, I never actually
Okay.
talked about that with my
Okay,
doctor.
but you quit
so-
doing it.
Okay. I quit doing it because I didn't have a boyfriend, so
Right.
I stopped using them. And my period stopped coming.
Oh.
So what's the first thing a 19, 20
Freak
years gonna
out.
think?
Can I have a baby now? Yeah.
Now I'm pregnant. Like
No.
I broke up with my boyfriend, now I'm pregnant.
Now what?
Great. So I had a test, negative. I was like, shit. Well, okay, I'm not pregnant, great. A month more passed, still no period.
Oh.
Another test, negative. So I was like, maybe it has to do with my treatment. There has to. That's the only explanation possible. So next time I was with my doctor, I told her what happened, and then she said, Caro, because of all the treatment you got, all the chemo,
Yep.
and then the stem cell transplant, which was like really intensive
duty.
chemo,
Yep.
your body lost the ability to produce the hormones your body needs to create a normal period. So basically,
So you weren't making eggs probably, or the eggs weren't dropping enough.
weren't like
What?
madurando. They
Okay.
weren't maturing.
Yes. Okay. Okay.
And she said they lost the capacity to do it
Wow.
when I was 20.
Wow.
That was
Heartbreaking.
the
Heartbreaking.
heaviest
Heartbreaking.
blow
Yes.
in my life.
For a young woman, that's the worst news. But there's good news, right?
Yeah, there's good news.
First of all, tell us
coming up.
how we lost the accountant in the world, and is that why or?
That's why. That's why. Because first of all, it broke my heart.
Yes.
Like when you grow up here in Colombia, your biggest dream is, your family.
Right.
being a mom, your kids.
Right.
You dreaming with the white dress, getting married.
Right.
And then I was like, who's gonna love me
Oh,
if
man.
I cannot have kids?
Was that harder than the cancer?
It was harder.
I believe it. Yeah. Wow.
That was my like instant, conclusion. I was like, who's gonna love me if I cannot have kids?
Wow.
And if no one is gonna love me and I wanna be a mom, then I need prestige,
Yes.
money,
Yes.
an important career. So
Right.
when the time comes and I wanna adopt, they're gonna give me the key to being a single mom.
Wow.
So that's why I chose that career.
I got to tell you, your maturity blows me away, honestly. So I applaud you for that.
Thanks.
Your life story is amazing. And now you're healthy.
Yes, I'm healthy.
And when the right guy comes along, you can have a child, we assume. We hope.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now you're a health coach.
Yes, but I actually recovered my fertility last year.
How?
Naturally.
Naturally. You just started having periods again.
Yes, I mean, I have done like so much inner work in the last
When you
6
say
years.
inner work, what are you speaking to?
I'm
Physical,
speaking
mental, emotional, spiritual?
all of that.
All of that.
All of that. Like, first of all, like realizing, the first thing was realizing, what was happening in my mind, and I wasn't even aware of that. And just like to kind of connect the story with this one,
Please.
my spiritual awakening was being drunk,
Being drunk.
and it has to do with that news that I received with the doctor of being, infertile. So I was, by this time, I was already in Medellin. I've been here almost a year. I was working in the same company as Sarah.
Okay.
And I was living here my life same as Europe, going out, being drunk, one guy every other week, not caring about people, no emotional connection, no spiritual connection, like,
Party mode.
yeah. Once someone asked me like, how's your spirituality? And I was like, what's that? And how do you deal with that? Because I got no clue that doesn't have a place in my life. So anyways, I went out with this guy on Tinder. We went out, we got drunk. We ended up going to a hotel to spend the night. And I don't recall what happened. I just remember he took me home. And then the next day I woke up and I was like, oh shit, I don't recall exactly what happened or what didn't happen, right? So like 2 days later, I kind of, grabbed the strength to like call the guy and say, hey,
What happened?
what happened? I'm sorry, I was too drunk. So he told me that we were, there in the hotel, and that he started seeing that I have a lot of scars. Like I got scars here because of the treatment. And then he asked me, like, what happened? So me being super drunk, I told him
The whole story.
I had cancer and I cannot be a mom, and that pains me very much. And I start crying, drunk. And I didn't recall that. But when this guy told me this, it's like something in my heart, like break open.
Yeah.
And then so much pain started pouring out, like so much.
Wow.
I didn't know that was there, because when my doctor told me that, it was a shock, but I did with that what I was doing my whole life.
But you were kind of internalizing it all, right?
Yes, I was just like putting everything under the rock.
And then sex and drinking and all that to avoid all that feeling, and then boom.
Yeah, I didn't know it was there.
Wow.
I was just like piling up things under the rock for many years, and that was the most painful one. And then this guy just put it out there, and then I just started crying. I cried like for 2 days, and I couldn't stop crying. I was so much.
Were you sharing this with anyone during those 2 days? Do you have a friend or your mom?
Yes, I shared it with a couple of friends, and then he said you should see a coach. I had a friend who is like a life coach.
Mm-hmm.
She can help you out. So that's the first time I actually looked for like professional help, and
Gotcha.
that's where my journey of like healing and like finding out like what's going on in my mind and everything started.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean it came full circle. Like that thing is like what awake me. years later.
So let me ask you this. I'm a young girl. I'm struggling in my life somewhere. I'm drinking too much promiscuity because I've had some injury. You know, everybody's had, we all go through pain and we close our heart. And that's the problem. We start to contract our heart and then we start living in our head. And then we don't feel good, but we don't know why. So we go out and do this stupid stuff. And then boom. So what would you say to a young girl? Because you're amazingly strong. That whether they're 18 or 33, and they're lost, they can't quit drinking, their drugs, they know something's off and wrong. What would be your advice to them?
To take care. First of all, you gotta realize something's off.
Yeah, self-honesty.
Yeah, self-honesty.
Which you got accidentally, but you were wise enough to call the guy, and he was sweet enough to tell you, right?
Yeah.
And that's when it started. Self-honesty, awareness.
So first of all, you need to be aware. And if you're not aware yourself, then hopefully there's someone next to you that loves you,
right,
that has been telling you that something's off.
Yeah.
And you're not listening. So listen.
It's tough though.
Yeah.
It's tough.
It's tough.
So now you start working with this coach. What next happened that was significant in your growth?
So I started working with her, and then, you know, we humans, when we start like looking at ourselves, it's like peeling an onion, right?
Yes.
So you start with, you know, superficial things, and the more you peel, the deeper things you find.
Yes.
So it's been like that. I mean, I started with her, then I went into this program. I don't know if you ever heard of those. It's like a 4-month program with like really high intensity, you know, exercises, catharsis, things like that. That helped me out like a lot. Like,
so physical activity.
Yeah, physical activity to release emotions.
Yeah.
So it was like a 4-month program.
So it was like to get physical, to get all the emotional stuff out.
Yes.
Give me an idea. Give me an exercise or something, how that would work.
So for instance, we will do like a group meditation in the dark. And then we will start remembering, you know, wounds with your mom.
And you would just speak it out?
You will speak it up. You will.
But it's everybody's in the dark.
Yeah.
So you're anonymous in a way.
Yes.
Although they know your voice.
You have your intimacy
right.
in a way.
And then this pain would come up, this emotional pain, and you would just release it.
Yeah, you will just scream. And we will have like a pillow, and then you can just like pull the.
How many people in this room?
Like 40 people.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, so that's kind of good, actually, because there's safety in numbers, right? If there's only 4, well, we know who everybody is. But if there's 40, so did you feel free, like you could just really let that go?
Yeah, but then when I started doing these trainings, of course, it was not only like the meditation, but before that, you know, there was a talk and you were like discussing, because you gotta actually start helping your mind remembering what happened before you go through something like that.
Where was that? In Colombia?
That was here in Medellin.
Oh, cool.
With a company that doesn't exist any longer because it closed in pandemia, but now it's rebirthed with a new name.
Oh, good.
So, and anyways, well, where was I?
So what else did you do in the physical activity to get the emotional stuff out? Any other exercises or things?
Yeah, no, many. That's like one example, but it was like 4 months with different like times we were like meeting and like doing exercises and then like practicing things outdoors with people. And in that training, I kind of started to realize that my pain under the rock was not only the cancer, it was not only not being a mom. There were many things.
From childhood?
From childhood, from adulthood, from so many. And because of my way of saying, I gotta go and keep moving forward, what I was doing is I was neglecting the things that happened, not doing like any emotional work. That's what I did with my family.
Yes, you wouldn't allow them to be emotional.
Yes, I didn't.
Where does that come from?
Probably from my childhood.
Are your parents tough and stoic, or?
Yes, they are tough. But I think I'm tougher than them.
But I think their toughness, because they did create a very tough daughter and a very motivated daughter. I mean, your curriculum is very impressive for a young person. And I love how you returned. You didn't return. You ended up in Medellin. in 2016. And I always tell people, Medellin is a very dangerous city. You come here, you're going to fall in love, and you're never going to leave. Mm-hmm. That's the only danger in Medellin as far as I'm concerned. Okay?
It is.
It is so beautiful. The people are so wonderful. The food is so amazing. So that's my danger in Medellin. You fall in love and you never leave. Which happened to you?
Yeah, I've been here 7 years. So.
And how's it going?
I love this place.
Yeah.
Last year I got tired of the stress of the city, so I moved out up on the hills, which is countryside, chill. Right. But whenever I want to come, it's like 1 hour away. So
we kind of have the best of both worlds. We can go up there in nature, and it's so beautiful. And if we want city life, we can come down here, which is still beautiful and full of nature. That's the amazing thing about Medellin.
Yeah, it's like you can have it all.
I don't want to talk too much because too many people are moving here. But,
yes, I know.
But I love it here.
The secret is out there.
Okay, so as a health coach, what's that like? What's that mean? What do you do?
So,
do you work just with women, by the way, or men and women?
Like 90% of my clients are women.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what do they come to you for?
Most is, so they come most of the times because they want to lose weight, they want to look better, or maybe they have like one disease they want to work with. And then what I, work with them is not like only the physical disease, but like what's the emotions that are like creating that disease, like what happened in your life, what are like those beliefs that are making you create that into your life.
Yes.
So almost always we go to self-love, gratitude, feeling worthy, protecting yourself, setting boundaries.
So you have a client, a woman, struggling with self-love. What would you suggest to her? What would you tell her?
It depends on the person.
Okay.
Because there are so many issues with self-love. For instance, I got this client which used to have a really abusive partner. Not
so
abusive.
The self-esteem is very low.
Yeah. She was really dependent.
Yes.
So in her case, she needed to learn to set boundaries.
Yes.
And to put herself first. And not like thinking that because I am for someone else, I'm going to be loved.
Right.
You are loved because who you are.
Right.
Not for what you give.
It's actually who we are. We are love.
We are love.
But we get hurt so much that we close down, and then we aren't love anymore.
Yeah.
And then we're living up here doing crazy stuff.
Yeah, and then we do like 100 different things because we think if we do those things, we're going to be loved.
Right.
We're going to be seen. We're going to be accepted.
It's all BS.
And it's all BS. Not how it works.
So
maybe superficially.
Well, of course. It's a lie. It's an illusion. It's an illusion and a delusion. We're fooling ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it works for a certain amount of time, and then guess what? It quits working.
Yeah.
Now we got a problem.
And then you go to a hole.
Yes, exactly right. Or you manifest an illness.
Yes.
And one that you can't beat, and that's what happens to a lot of people. I always tell people, everybody must take this journey, and it's only 18 inches long. It's moving from the head to the heart. Because when we live from here, this is our authentic self. This is ego bullshit that God knows where it comes from, right?
This is like a recorder that's just like repeating the things you heard before.
All day long.
Yeah.
Okay, so what else you want to talk about?
What else would I want to talk about? So let's just close the story. Like I never.
Yeah. So I'm waiting for you to close the story.
Yeah, it's just like there's like so many turns and things around. But like to close it up, after doing this training, like 1 year later, I decided to become a life coach. Not in that moment to like help out people, but to help myself. Mm-hmm. I was like, you know what? I know there are so many things like we may need to work that I want to do these masters for that. So I did the masters. I healed more things. I discovered more things. And then I was also in the journey of self-discovery because at that point I already knew being an economist wasn't the thing that fulfilled my heart. It was something that I chose for, some really specific reasons, but it wasn't me making me happy. Actually, it was super ego related.
Explain, elaborate that.
Well, when I was doing my career, I was really good in my degree and I always been like really good at my work. But it wasn't not because I love being an economist and no.
What was driving you? Was it mostly pride and success and that kind of stuff?
Being better than everyone else.
Competition.
With competition,
Yeah.
showing off that I was smarter, faster, better, and
Yeah.
that I could do it,
Yeah. Which is
So-
an empty feeling at the end of the day.
Yeah. And it was motivated because of all these other things. So I was like, this is not fulfilling. This is not what I want to do. So what the hell am I going to do with my life, right? So I started asking my friends because I was, unaware like what other gifts I have. And then many friends started to pinpoint to me that my gift was food.
Food.
Yes.
Explain.
Well,
Cooking or
I
eating?
love cooking. I
Okay,
love
okay,
cooking.
okay.
And I love eating as well.
Okay.
But I got this intuitive sense for food. So like to make dishes, to create amazing things, to make a presentation that is amazing. For instance, if I go to a grocery shop, I'm in the grocery, like choosing the groceries, and already in my mouth, I can feel
Wow.
how the plate is gonna come out.
Wow.
That's my intuitive food sense.
So it's a gift.
Yeah, it's my gift. So, but I wasn't aware. My friends were the ones like, hey, you should do something with food. But I was like, I love food, but I don't want to work in a restaurant. Like, not at this moment in my life. Maybe later on,
Right.
I will have my own restaurant, like a 6-table restaurant just for fun. Anyways, I was like with that in my mind, and then I was doing all this, inner work. And then at a workshop, I got this idea. What if I mix self-development and healing and all these things that I love and that's been very dear to me with the other thing that I love the most, which is food. And then I found out that there is this degree in New York to be an intuitive, integrative nutrition coach.
Wow.
So I was like, hey, this is mixing the two things I love. So I decided to become a health coach
Wow.
with the Institute of Integrative Nutrition in New York.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's when it came full circle. So I pretty much used my skills as a coach that I learned as a life coach and with the training, but I love it so much because of my connection with food. So I just love it, do it with love, with care, and I was always teaching people how to enjoy food, because for me, food is life. It's something to be enjoyed, not something to be afraid of. You can be healed with food. I mean, it's medicine.
It is medicine.
It is medicine. Actually, everything is medicine.
Yes.
Not only food. So that's why I work integrally, not only with the food you put on your plate, but in all the ways you're feeding yourself.
Yes. You mentioned meditation earlier. Do you meditate now?
Yes, I do meditate.
And what kind?
So I do you know Vishen Lakiani?
No, I don't. Wait, Vishen.
Vishen,
From Mind Valley.
from Mind Valley.
No, I just interviewed his former wife the other day.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Nice.
Yes, Christina.
Christina,
Yeah,
yeah.
amazing, beautiful. She's an older version of you, honestly.
Really?
Yes, she has this she's very beautiful like you, and she has this childlike quality, but she's very bright.
Uh-huh.
You two guys are really similar.
Well, maybe one day you can introduce
Well,
us.
I'd like to. That would be great.
Yeah, it would be amazing.
So you started studying meditation through Vishen, through Mind Valley?
I do. The meditation I do is one of Vishen's meditation, the 6-step meditation. That's
Okay.
the one that I do the most.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I also have a training from him, which is to become extraordinary. And he has many meditation techniques there. So that's the ones I use, to connect with my intuition, to manifest, to receive guidance.
So let's talk about manifestation. I actually wrote a book about it.
Oh, nice.
Yes. And so what's your technique with manifestation? How do you see that process, and how do you make it work in your life?
Okay, so manifesting is, how can I explain this? I mean, I'm still
First you
learning.
have to determine what you want to manifest,
Yes,
right?
yes, you need to have clarity.
Yes.
For sure.
Crystal clarity.
Crystal clarity.
And it needs to come from the heart, not the mind, right? So now we start
There's
with this.
gotta be an emotion.
Exactly.
There's gotta be an emotion
It's a
with that.
thought and an emotion. So it's the thought is the frequency that goes into the field of infinite possibilities, and is the emotion that brings it back to you fulfilled.
Yeah, it is like a frequency.
Yes, yes.
It's like one part is like electricity, and
Yes.
the other part is
Magnetic.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it kind of works like that. So I mean, I don't want to go into the details on how I like meditate and
That's
stuff.
okay.
But yeah, I mean, it's like getting in tune with what is that I want, right? And then like really feel the emotions of that. For instance, I'm gonna tell you something I want to manifest.
Please.
So it's gonna be much easier to explain that
Please.
way. I wanna run. One of my biggest dreams right now is to run the New York Marathon.
Wow. Are you a
And-
runner right now?
I'm starting.
Okay.
I'm starting.
So your goal is to run the New York Marathon?
Yes.
Okay. That's your intention.
And I wanna take my dad on a holiday with me to New York because he's never been there. It's his dream to New York.
And there's the emotional charge too, right? That's
Yes.
the power. I hope you guys are getting this, okay? The goal, the intention is to run the marathon, but the emotion, the why, the big why, the emotional juice that makes it, gonna make it happen for her, she's gonna take her father who's never been to New York, right?
Yes. And I wanna see my father there waiting for me on the finish line.
Oh, taking a picture.
Yes. That's the big emotional part. Like I think about that and I feel like crying of happiness picturing that moment.
Wow.
So when you got that
It's
image-
it almost cannot not happen.
Yes.
When you have that much energy behind it, it must happen.
Yeah, it must happen. It's gonna pull you through.
Yes.
It's gonna pull you through some way. So that's the first thing, right? Just like have that clarity, that emotion, that intention in your heart, and then once you're connected with that, you just gotta start living today as if that's a reality.
There you go. There
That's
is.
it.
And once you do that, it becomes a reality.
It becomes a reality. It
Well-
becomes who you are.
Once you can see it and feel it in this unseen world, it has to come into the physical world.
Yes. And I actually am running now. I'm getting ready for my first half marathon in Bogota.
In Bogota.
Yes, I'm gonna be running at the end of July.
So for you guys watching at home, where she lives is 7,000 feet, but Bogota, I think, is 11 or 12,000
Yes.
feet.
It's gonna be a tough.
It's going to be very tough. But at least you're training in a high altitude to begin with.
Yes, that's the good part, but I never like run in my life.
How many miles can you go now? I know you guys measure kilometers, but
Yeah, well, right now, the farthest I've run so far, I mean, I've been training for already like 3 weeks.
okay.
So the farthest I run is like 7 kilometers,
Yeah.
which is like 3 miles.
Okay.
I don't know.
That's a good run.
Yeah, I think it's 3, almost 4 miles.
Any pain afterwards?
No.
Well, perfect.
No, and I hired like a running coach because I wanna, not
Right.
injure myself,
Right.
like do a good work. And almost every one of my friends who are runners, like professional runners, they're like, you're fucking nuts.
Why?
Because it's only 2 months left for the race.
Oh, you got to get going.
Yes.
But it's only a half marathon.
It's
You
half.
you can do it. Yeah, I don't think you could train for a full marathon. I used to be a runner. I think a half marathon, your struggle is going to be the altitude
The
up
altitude,
there.
yeah.
So, but hey, guess what? If you got to walk, you got to walk. Just start it, finish it, get to the finish line.
Yeah.
Who cares how long it takes?
I know I'm gonna finish it. I wanna finish like in good shape, meaning running. So
Yeah.
that's why I'm training.
Yeah.
But all my friends, like the one who run, they're like, you're crazy. You only have 2 months.
You can do it.
And I
I-
know I can do it. I'm sure. I have no inch of doubt I can do it.
I ran the Santa Barbara half marathon. I was double your age, and I didn't train. I trained maybe just a couple months. And my time was my minute time was 7 minutes 45 seconds for every minute. So that was pretty good time
Yeah.
for that long a period. So
No, that's very good. No,
Hey,
I'm gonna
when
make
is it?
It's at the end of July, the 30th.
Okay, I'm gonna check with Kelly or Sarah, see how you do.
Yeah, of course. I'm gonna send you pictures when I'm
Perfect.
like
Please do.
with my medal.
Yes.
Like,
Okay.
yes, I made it.
I'll be rooting for you.
Thank you.
Okay, so first of all, you're a joy to talk to,
Thank
and
you.
your story is totally inspirational, and it really moved me and touched me. I actually did get tears in my eyes a few times, and. If someone wants to follow you or coach with you, or how do they go about finding you?
Okay, so you can find me on Instagram. That's gonna be the easiest place where you can find me. My handle is at Caro, which is CARO, low bar Vitalidad, which is VITALIDAD.
Okay, so they can find you there, check you out, they can DM you there.
Yes.
They want to be coached by somebody that's had one heck of a life in 33 years, that has a wealth of experience.
Yeah,
I
people always ask me, like, how old are you? And I'm like, 33, and they're like, how is it possible you've done so much?
It's really incredible.
With so little time.
And what I love about you is your positive attitude, your smile, your energy is profound. So I just thank you for coming here today, and it's been a joy to speak with you.
Thank you for having me.
I look forward to following you, all these successes that you're going to have.
Oh, thank you, Mike. Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure. I mean, this is like, I think it's my first interview, and I was like, yeah, let's do it. I was like really scared.
Awesome.
But,
Hey,
I need to share more and more message.
You do it, really do. And I'm going to ask the audience right now, hey, listen, if you know any young woman, okay, I have 4 granddaughters I'm going to send this interview to, because it's so inspiring to meet someone so courageous, so smart, but humble, so successful, yet willing to give and share. She mentioned she's a giver, right? And givers just have great energy. So I would suggest, and anybody dealing with cancer, I don't care what their age is, this is an incredibly inspiring story. So please share this with as many people as you can, especially young women. I know in America, young women are struggling a lot. There's a lot of confusion over a lot of these topics. And I promise you that this young woman's words, her energy, her strength will inspire and motivate any woman that watches this interview. So please share it. We'll be right back with the Mountains of Hope segment. Hey, welcome back, everybody, and super excited to give you a little Mountains of Hope segment and an update on Mountains of Hope, and of course the Power of Your Voice segment, where we're going to tie it all together for you, hopefully. But I have to tell you, so after the interview with Carolina right here in my home in Medellin, first of all, she touched my heart immensely. Her story is so powerful and profound. I mean, you guys have to understand, I've been around a lot of cancer patients, and over 200 face to face, and followed their life and worked with them and tried to help them. And I know the burden that they carry. And I lived with a cancer patient for 9 years, every day. So I know a lot about their experience. I've never experienced myself, but of course I've been a patient of other things, just not cancer. So I've had my own physical health issues, as you have too. So no matter what the health issue, it's important, right? But cancer is a little more difficult because allegedly there's no cure, and the treatment is so barbaric. And it's you say the word cancer to someone and they just freak out, and it's a fear-based word, because not because there's a tumor growing in my body, it's because of all the fears around what's the treatment going to be like. What if they can't stop it from growing? And so it's just a fear-based word. And here's this 18-year-old girl, imagine, going to the oncologist by herself to get the final verdict. Does she have cancer? And she goes by herself, which is mind-blowing to me, having dealt with all this. And then she goes home and tells her parents, hey, listen, I'm diagnosed with cancer, but we're not going to be fear-based. We're just going to beat it. And so I love her courage. I love her spirit. So I'm only telling you all this again to tell you this little story. So the minute we were done, I wanted to jump up and give her a hug. And because my legs were crossed the entire 45-minute interview, my right foot had gone to sleep, and I didn't realize. So I jump up out of my chair, and I'm going to hug her. She's coming towards me, and my right ankle starts to give out. And then I'm trying to catch it, and it's like slow motion. I fall over to the ground, and the entire team here is cracking up. So anyways, I just want to share this because I want you to understand how powerful that testimony was. So if you know someone in your life right now that needs some courage, is complaining about a broken nail, or is complaining about something really minor, send this video to them. Say, hey, listen, man, this is what courage is, and this is what we all need to get. I'm excited about Mountains of Hope for a number of reasons, but one is I want people to come there and experience and realize that almost everything they need to survive, whatever's coming our way, and I think things are going to get a little tougher than they are now, whatever we need is already within us, okay, as far as our physical, mental, emotional health. Now, of course, we need some good water, and of course, we need some good food, and of course, we need oxygen, and we need shelter. But other than that, to grow mentally, emotionally, spiritually is all within us. We just need to learn to turn off this insane asylum up here, all these crazy thoughts that, 270,000 a day. And maybe the 10 catch our attention and just repeat, right? So once we move into the heart, then we learn how to control this. And especially we teach a lot of meditation techniques at Mountains of Hope. A lot of people want to meditate. They know for a long time, I read a lot of Dr. Wayne Dyer when I was younger and Deepak Chopra. I knew I should be meditating. I knew it. They told me. And I respected them, and I just knew they were right. Intuitively, I knew. But did I bother to do it? No. And so now am I cause and effect? Am I reaping some health issues today that could have been fixed with meditation? Absolutely. Absolutely. Because how do I know? Because now I meditate a couple hours every day. Now I understand the benefits. Where I didn't think I didn't have time to meditate, now I realize that by meditating, I have more time to create. Life is weird. So I really encourage you to check out meditation. I prefer guided meditations right now, or brain entrainment, which is just sound, and what it's doing is the way the sound is set up. And you can find all this on YouTube for free. But the way the sound is set up, the right brain is consciousness, creativity, music, the arts, and all that kind of stuff, and the left brain is language. I'll give you a perfect example. There's a woman named Jill Bolte Taylor, and she wrote a book, I probably read it 10, 15 years ago, called My Stroke of Genius. And what's so unique and powerful about her story is that she was a neuroscientist at Harvard University. Why did she want to become a neuroscientist? Turns out her brother had schizophrenia when she was growing up, and she wanted to understand what happened to her brother's brain. Why does he have this mental disease? So she went on and became a neuroscientist at Harvard, and she played a guitar. So one of her roles was to go around the country, speak at events about brain health, and at the same time she'd play her guitar, and she would encourage or inspire people to donate their brains to Harvard once they passed over, so that Harvard could then study their brains and make progress. So she was really into this, right? So here she is in Boston, getting ready to go to work. She wakes up in the morning, she hops on her treadmill, and she's running. And then she looks down, she realizes her hands have turned into animal claws. She goes, man, this is so weird. This sensation is so weird. I better get off this thing. I'm working out too much. I better get in the shower. I better get to work. She gets in the shower and things get crazier. All of a sudden, she feels like she's going into outer space. She's becoming expansive. She's becoming everywhere, all things everywhere, all at the same time. And she realized, oh my gosh, I'm having a stroke. I'm a neuroscientist having a stroke. I got to pay attention to this. Okay? So she gets out of the shower. She's having a stroke in the left side of her brain, which is language, numbers, all that. And now she goes, okay, I got to call work. But she can't remember the number. So now she has a stack of business cards on her desk. She starts going through these business cards looking for the phone number, but she can't really read and see. And finally she gets enough where she gets the number. She calls her boss at work. She can't speak. Now she's just mumbling. There's no words, there's no language. Her left brain is dead or dying. And so they figure it out. They come and get her, put her in a hospital. It takes her 1 year until she can speak again and walk again. She has to learn to walk again, learn to speak again. But she said, she goes, when I was having this experience, the question became to her, do I want to come back? This is so euphoric. This is so spectacular. This is so peaceful. This is so freeing. And that's the beauty and power of meditation. Once you can really get this, and it's not easy. Listen, it's a practice. It's a meditation practice. Okay, I play golf. Golf I will never master. I have to practice. Just to get one stroke better, I got to practice for weeks, okay? Same with meditation. What concerns me as I'm speaking about this is they call medicine a practice. So think about that, if you will. And if you want to know more about that, you can come to Mountains of Hope. But so the beauty of meditation, the beauty of getting out of these thoughts, this what I call the committee of psychopaths, the insane asylum, and not even moving into my heart, moving into space and time, getting out of this body, because I am not these 50 to 100 trillion cells that are working together. 100 trillion cells, individual living conscious beings, they're cells. And with consciousness, the beautiful work of Dr. Bruce Lipton in the Biology of Belief prove that cells have a consciousness. And when you examine a cell, just all the receptors and all the stuff, how they allow stuff into the interior of the cell, how they get stuff out of the exterior of the cell, how these cells are communicating with all the other cells, they communicate electrically. And when you just study one cell and then someone's going to tell me this was a big bang random accident? No, sorry. I don't know how it came to be. I mean, it could have been that, but there was a creator. There is a creator that have created this thing. And when we really start breaking it down and go deep with how we're supposed to take care of our body, oh my gosh, when we just start understanding the power of the sun, they got us scared to death of the sun. We won't go outside the sun unless we're covered with chemicals. The water, we're going to teach you about water and how pure our water is. We use distilled water, reverse osmosis. We put minerals if needed occasionally to mineralize the body. Minerals are so important. Let me talk about our soil in Mountains of Hope, if I may. We have 20 acres. We're 7,000 feet in the Andes Mountains. Our soil's never been tilled, never been grown, at least as far as I know. And it's just beautiful. So we're growing 50 fruits and vegetables there. The problem in America is that the soil's been so tilled so many times, and they don't take time to repair it. Even in the Bible, they talk about every 7 years, you got to quit planting on that land and let the land rehabilitate itself. When even in America, in the olden days, back before I was born, when they would plow the field, they'd go and they would pick the corn, okay, and then they would replow, so all those stalks would get back in full of nutrients that we need, the minerals that we need, would go back into the ground, and then they would retill it, and then it would grow back together. Now it's just chemicals, and they don't do that. They just knock it all down and replant right away after they put chemical. And this is a really bad part. It's not real food anymore. It's GMO. Genetic modified organisms. They're taking this blend over here and blending it over here, but what they're doing when they splice it together, they're affecting the DNA, which when we eat it then affects our DNA and our RNA, and all of a sudden we're getting rewired by the food we're eating. We're becoming less human and more genetically modified. And so we have to understand all these things, because if we don't, that toxicity builds up and we get sicker and sicker and sicker. And I'm going to share this with you. Just, I have mercury poisoning, and I couldn't figure out why, and I really thought, I had mercury fillings as a kid, of course, but I had them all removed like 10, 12 years ago. And yesterday I had a meeting with our detox doctor, who's profound and Quicksilver scientific, Dr. Chris Shade out of Colorado. We're working together to create our customized Mountains of Hope detox plan for you when you come here. So I'm talking to him, and he goes, Mike, I thought you had your fillings, you have mercury poisoning. I thought you still had your fillings in. I go, no, I took them out 10 years. He goes, oh, well, it's not that then. That'd be gone. Where are you getting this mercury? I go, I don't know. And so what we teach in Mountains of Hope, when it comes to your own body, your own health, you have to be your own detective. So I'm thinking all night long. And I'm going, where am I getting? I'm thinking, I even Googled iPads. Are they made with mercury? They used to be made with mercury. That LED screen, you have mercury. I'm thinking, I'm on my iPad a lot. I'm holding, am I getting it there? No. Okay, I have a steam shower. I Google, is building materials have mercury? So I want to know, am I getting that in the steam shower? Then my wife goes, what about those pre-rolled marijuana joints you smoke in California? I go, okay. But I knew something she didn't know. And so I Googled that, and those marijuana joints pre-rolled in California do have mercury in them and other heavy metals. So check that out, all you pot smokers out there. But then I realized for a couple years now, because I have a problem sleeping, I take a syringe full of THC and CBD oil, that's manufactured here in Medellin, Colombia, or I don't know, somewhere in Colombia. But the pod is grown here in Colombia. And because Colombia has a lot of illegal gold mining, they use mercury to mine the gold. There's a lot of mercury poison in the water here, and it seeps everywhere. And so I haven't confirmed it, but you know what's interesting intuitively for the last year is I've gotten less and less energy, and I'm feeling sicker and sicker and sicker, and now I got a heart issue, I got kidneys issue, I got a prostate issue. I started thinking, whoa, what am I doing to my cells when I take this oil? I thought I was just like giving them a good high and putting them to sleep so I could sleep good. I was poisoning them now, I believe. I'm going to test that oil today, but I'm 99% sure I'm correct. So what am I leading to? One, I want you to understand this is what Mountains of Hope is all about. And in Mountains of Hope, we're going to teach all this stuff while we put you on this physical detox. And then the next week, we get into consciousness and spirituality and sacred plant medicines. I promise you, you come to Mountains of Hope for 2 weeks, your life will never be the same. And we put you on a program that you can maintain when you get home, and we have accountability meetings every month. So and my fear is we don't start our first retreat till October, and we only do 17 retreats a year, and we only have 18 people per retreat. So that's not a lot of people, and thousands are going to want to come. So if you're interested, I invite you to go to mountainsofhope.com and just give us your name and email address, and we will notify you once we start selling these, so you can be one of the very first. And don't think I'm kidding, because I go through this with Dr. Joe Dispenza. You can't get in if you don't sign up within 5 minutes. Mountains of Hope is going to be like that. So go there, give us your name and address. We'd like to stay in touch with you. Hope to see you next week on the Power of Your Voice podcast. I'm your host, Mike Murphy. And until next time, go out there and live your life with passion and manifest the life of your dreams.
Thank you for listening to The Power of Your Voice with Mike Murphy. This podcast is brought to you by Mike Murphy Unfiltered, The Creation Frequency, Mountains of Hope, and the Love from Margot Foundation. These sponsors are dedicated to helping you unleash your full potential and live a life of joy and abundance. If you enjoyed this episode, please visit our website at mikemurphyunfiltered.com and subscribe to our podcast.